Hi there, welcome to The Sacred Journey. The Sacred Journey is the program that reminds you that life is a wonderful adventure. Each and every experience we have is a unique and perfect opportunity for learning. I'm Joyce St. Germaine, and you recognize this handsome man as Ramblin Dan Stevens. He's a great friend of The Sacred Journey. Tonight he is going to show you how to make diddly bows. What's a diddly bow, you ask? We have just the man that can answer that. Thank you for coming, Dan, and we are so excited about this.
Thank you.
What's a diddly bow?
Well, a diddly bow is a one-stringed, primitive, homemade blues instrument that the old blues guys used to make. There's several versions of the diddly bow. The earliest version, I suppose, was that the guys used to take a piece of baling wire and nail it on the side of the porch and put a bottle or something under each end to get some string tension. And they would take some kind of a slide, like a piece of bone or a pocket knife or anything they could find, and use that for a slide, and made some incredible music with that. Some of you may have seen the movie, I think it's called Some Play It Loud. Jack White and a couple rock and roll guitarists, I can't remember the names now, Jimmy Page, I think, and somebody else. I should get that information right. But anyway, there's a movie out there, I think it's called Some Play It Loud, where Jack White, in the very opening scene, makes a diddly bow like the one I just described, and it takes about 10 minutes or something, and makes some great music. But there are other forms of the same instrument, the diddly bow, which is essentially, diddly bow is kind of considered pretty much a one-stringed instrument, from my experience anyway. Today we're going to make diddly bows out of a kit that I've assembled for our participants here, and it's just a stick from Home Depot. This is poplar. Sometimes I use maple, and this is I call it an Altoids tin, but these are actually from Newman's Own. These are upscale diddly bows here, very high class, Connecticut after all. And these are just 2 quarters. One of them's bent over and glued onto the other one for the bridge. Sometimes people use bolts, or there's all kinds of crazy inventions that people use to make the bridges for these things. And then this is just, for the nut, is just a piece of wood, but I've also seen people use bolts and things like that for this part. And this is a little bit cheating. It's a real guitar tuner. The old guys would figure out some way to make some honky-tonk way of tuning it, but that's our only concession, I think. But anyway, so we're going to make these things. These are real simple, and these are not amplified. You can amplify them, and I'll show you right after this a couple examples, but that's what they sound like. And then we're going to learn how to play it with the slide. And this is just a broken off wine bottle. I went to a local club that I played at a couple nights ago, and they gave me a whole box of empty bottles, and I broke them all off. And to answer the question, yes, we did sand off the rough edges. It looks evil, though. I mean, you could use it for a weapon if you needed to, and being a blues man, you might actually have to. So, but I wanted to kind of go backwards, starting with a more of a present-day guitar that's had its roots in what I've just showed you, the diddly bow. This is a guitar. It was actually a vintage guitar from the '60s called a Silvertone. They used to sell them in the Sears catalogs. This type of guitar. There are a bunch of famous pictures of Mick Jagger holding just this very same style of guitar, and he famously says it's his favorite guitar of all time. You could buy them in the Sears catalog really inexpensively, and now they're prized as blues guitars. I found this one up in Maine. But regardless, I just want to show you what it would sound like today. We're playing slide. Obviously these are 6 strings, so you would learn how to play the diddly bow, which we're going to do in a moment, and then now you have 6 diddly bows.
Nice.
Thank you. Well, so again, I'm kind of moving backwards here. That would be a modern day guitar with 6 strings. Many years ago, people would make guitars out of cigar boxes. This is a cigar box guitar. It's a couple steps back from the modern day, but still ahead of the Diddley Bow a little bit. This is made with 2 sink drains from the hardware store, and that's a bent over nail, and a piece of maple from Home Depot, and these are just carpet tacks nailed in for the fret markers. I don't know if you can see, but these strings are way off the neck, so these fret markers are just for a visual, so you can tell where you're at. You don't actually press them down like regular guitar strings. But anyway, so play this with a slide also. Now, these instruments that I'm showing you right now are amplified. Uh-oh, dropped my thumb pick. Where did it go? This is probably going to be edited out of this section, but I have another one. Excuse me. Well, the way the carpet is, it's impossible to see.
Yeah,
Oh, here it is. I got it. Nope, that's not it.
What color is it?
It's clear. Oh, wait. No, here it is. I got it. Yeah.
It's on you somewhere it belongs.
How did that happen? I thought it fell off. You're going to edit that, right?
Baby.
Okay, well anyway. This is a Cigar Box Guitar. Now, the pickup in it is a beeper from a smoke detector. That's what I dropped. I dropped my picks. Let me see though. Reaching in my pocket. Wait, I got some extra ones. Here we are. Okay, so anyway, I got these finger picks just to make it a little bit louder. And my broken off bottle. There we go. So with these you tune them to an open tuning, which the guitar was tuned to an open tuning too. It's already tuned to a chord, so you can strum it and you got a chord. This is a D chord. The notes are D, A, D for you musicians. But anyway, let me turn this up. The little the pickups that are the beeper from a smoke detector thing are just little. The thing that beeps in a smoke detector is a tiny little round metal disc called a transducer. It's a piezo. Some of you electronic guys might know what I'm talking about. But anyway, you can dig apart a smoke detector, or you can go to an electronics store and buy the part itself. But if you any speaker that would make a sound like that, if you wire it backwards, you can turn it into a microphone. They say. I don't understand all that, but that's what they say. So if you wire this little transducer backwards, plug it into a guitar jack, it's a guitar pickup. Isn't that cool? Well, could be a spoonful of coffee, could be a spoonful of tea, could be a spoon of your precious love, well, good enough for me. Something lies about that spoonful, cries about that spoonful, dies about that spoonful. Everybody fighting about it, baby, that spoonful. Woo! So, now we're going to take one more step back and get into the actual Diddley Bow here. This is a Diddley Bow that I made out of a can that I found at a garage sale, and it said, if you can see it up close, it says moth gas on it. And the original can said it kills 100% active ingredients, kills moths, eggs, and larvae. It's bad, bad stuff, yeah. So perfect for blues. So anyway, I just grabbed a stick and shoved it through the can, made a couple holes so I could get the stick through. This is a bent over nail, and you can see the pickup that I was talking about. If you look closely, you can see it through the holes there. It's a little round disc that I glued onto the inside. And this is the other style of nut or bridge, the bolt idea. You know, so it's just made out of usually real simple recycled materials. And this one sounds even nastier. You ready for this? This is real blues.
Up and down your fret markers. Those are awesome.
Those are genuine diamonds.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, that I got at a jewelry store called Michael's.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah. They had a mostly like, it almost looked like a craft store, but in the back there were these diamonds. I picked them up. Great.
Very nice.
Oh, so anyway, that's the Diddley Bow. Now, our version is obviously a little more simple. We're going to start off with get it to this point, but if you want, you know, where's that other example I had somewhere here? Oh, there it is. You know, you can grab some acrylic paint from craft store or Walmart or somewhere, this kind of stuff, and mix it up, and you can get all kinds of cool colors. So I made, this is part one under construction kind of, but I painted it up, you know, and you know, you can put, you can customize it. You can easily take this off, and if you've got a jigsaw or some kind of saw, you can make it into a guitar shape, or you know, make it into a Strat or a Telly or whatever you want. You can paint it, you know, put your name on it, something like that. But we won't have time to do that because of the drying of the paint and all that today. But you know, you can do whatever you want with it. Take it home and customize it. They're a lot of fun. But you have the raw materials here. And so, this is what we're shooting for. So I'll just put this in the middle of the room. Well, maybe I'll play it a little bit first. Okay, so we're going to make these things. I have kits and have all the tools, and we'll put these things together, and then I'll turn you loose, and you can experiment for a little bit. I used to try to give a short lesson, but I found that people don't wait for the lesson. They just want to get right into it and try to play it, you know. But we'll let you experiment a little bit, and then I will back you up and give you a couple pointers and a couple tips and show you a couple blues licks and things like that. It's really simple. People often ask me, well, I get two responses. Some people say, wow, how do you get so much music out of one little string, you know? And when you think about it, it's everything that's music is there. You know, you got the notes, you know, you've got tone, you know, you've got that sound, dynamics, loud and soft, you know, vibrato, slide, there's space, you know, we can go on, but everything that music is, you can play on a Diddley Bow. And that's what's kind of exciting about it, is to take something simple like this and really get that music out of it. So I will let you play a little bit, and then I'll teach you some things, and then I'll turn you loose. At the end, I'll put on some jam tracks that you can download from the internet, and we'll just try to jam along like you're in a blues band or something, and then we'll see what happens. But I found that even kids, little kids, big kids, adults, everybody can kind of get the hang of it. It's really not that much to it, and it's fun. So, all right, so here's the Diddley Bow. That's what we're shooting for. Let me get you started, okay? All right. So this is where it's going to get, you know, you probably have to edit, because I don't want to kind of perform the whole time, so I'll just do my thing and you'll have to cut it up.
You just keep going,
Yeah.
and we'll grab what we need out of this.
Okay.
And that was funny, because I'm looking under the table, seeing all these feet bopping up and down. I'm the one with the cast on it, but everybody else, your other one I'm seeing bopping up and down. Now, Del, do you
Yeah, but
have
you're
a
double
background
counting that
playing any instruments?
Okay, grab a stick.
I have what?
A background playing any instruments?
A little bit, yeah, guitar,
I didn't know that. How about you, Chris?
harp.
Oh, harp too. Uh-huh.
Play harps? Bring your harps with you?
No, we have a,
No, they mean
Oh,
harp
you mean,
harps,
oh, I thought you meant
not
harmonica.
harmonicas.
no, oh, sorry, the
Chris,
other
have you
harp.
played instruments?
Not at all.
Okay, then. This is
All right.
exciting. I can see these two already, the craftsmen that they are.
I got two
craftspeople
kinds.
Really doing a wide
Pick,
range.
you got the, whatever that is, wintergreen, or you got the ginger.
Ginger.
Very cool. So you can take your pick, those.
We got ginger people there.
Yeah,
Look at that.
That has
Some
more of an
screwdrivers
antique
here.
look to it.
it does, yeah.
What's that?
It has an antique-y kind of look to it, the colors. It's like,
Oh, you did a lot of,
Oh, this one has a polar bear on it.
aha.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna throw out a bunch of tools here. Let's see.
you notice that?
You can open it up so you can put the screws in.
Yeah, and you can also, you can amplify it, you know, you can put a pickup in it, or I can do it for you. I just have to show you how to do it.
But you have to have an amp there, don't you?
There's that,
There is that.
yeah.
We're not gonna build an amp.
Not in
Yeah.
this session, although we could do
You're
it.
working on the harp, aren't you?
Yeah.
Did you bring pickups?
No,
No?
that's something we would have to do later, you know, but, all right, let me see here, what do we got? Okay,
These?
that.
I'm gonna go with the polar bear.
Let's
Hey,
start
good-
by-
Good choice. Good
Let's
choice.
start by putting the tuners on, okay? Now, I got the holes drilled, but I found that some of them, I may have to go by and quickly drill in the hole or whatever. If it doesn't fit quite right, I'll be by with a drill or this little awl. Okay, so everybody gets a tuner.
Thank
Yep.
So can we name our Bo Diddley?
Sure, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Trying to think, I saw a funny YouTube video last night. Some guy had a homemade, it was a ukulele, kind of, one of these that was made into a ukulele. And he did the Suburban Blues or something like that, I forget what it, but it was all these, I don't know, I can't remember the words now, but it was all, you know, modern, yuppie, you know, like I got the blues because I can't buy my martini or something like that.
forgot my password.
Yeah, that's the blues right there. Okay, now, this thing is called a bezel, I think. But where the slot is where the nut goes, that's on the top, okay? So turn it over, and this little thing goes in the hole, wait a minute, I'm sorry, it goes in the top. And you might have to, I have a little hammer, you might have to hammer it or press it hard.
I got one right outside the door too.
Okay,
Mhm.
so everybody gets one of those.
Lost all this.
And two little screws. This is one of the harder parts because these screws are so tiny.
Yes, thanks.
So you have a tiny
All
little
set.
screw.
They're tiny
You have one of these?
screwdrivers.
Or do you have one
I
of those?
do. Mine doesn't fit in the,
Little screws.
You?
or I
The
just-
bezel goes on the top. Yeah, you got it right. Right. Did I give everybody screws?
So we,
There's your two
we're going
screws.
into the
Screws
wood.
right here.
And you got
Okay.
one there. And did you get both of yours?
Yes.
Okay.
My bezel doesn't fit in
Yeah, let me get my hammer.
One in every crowd.
How'd you get yours to go in so easily?
Well, I have to admit that I did not do it. Oh, I see.
There you go.
Thank you.
Dan, please.
Yep.
So what our viewers might not be able to see is if it doesn't go in well, a few gentle taps with a hammer solves that
Thank you,
problem.
Dan.
You good?
Beautiful.
I'm good.
All right. So, I have tiny little screwdrivers somewhere here. Here they are. To screw those in. It's possible that you may need me to come around and make that hole a little bit bigger, but usually they kind of work.
Do you line the, does this go any,
It should line up with the holes. Are there holes there?
yeah,
Oh, no hole.
Either one way or the other.
So
No
either-
holes?
either side?
Yeah, either side works.
Okay.
We are holeless.
Maybe, that's right. I think instead of drilling the holes, I was gonna go around and put them in. That's what I remember I decided.
Put
We
them
were
all?
gonna go around and put the screws in.
Put the holes in.
Uh,
So let me see. Where's yours?
Also, some of us have one of these screws. I don't know where the other one.
Oops. Can you hold that?
It's on the start.
So Dan, you're just using an awl to sort of start the holes where the screws are going to be?
Yes.
Okay.
Hot.
This
Yeah.
Do you
I
have an all?
suppose they don't want to turn the air conditioner on because of the
Well, it's part of-
noise, right?
We can do it, you just have to talk a little louder.
Dan, it's part of the blues.
That's blues. I feel like I'm down in Mississippi right now. Can you hold that?
Sure.
If that's gonna mess up the recording, I can
We'll know in a second. Okay? Not okay. Sorry, guys. Not okay.
Just get the full breeze.
Okay. You might need a little help. See, those are kind of tight. You get it?
Yeah, I'm getting it. I don't want to strip that head out.
Nah, let me put a hole in it for you.
Okay. Thank you.
How about you, Dal?
I got it started,
Yeah.
but I might need to go a
I
little
pulled them
deeper.
out and let me get the hole in it.
You-
Let me get this-
I put the all in
exciting.
started.
Oh, you did?
I didn't, I used the heavy duty one and it probably
Yeah.
wasn't.
Hold that. Yeah, this one's a little thinner. It goes in better. If you can pull that out
All
on.
right.
And Dan, you said the wood is poplar?
This is poplar, yeah. I often use maple, but
Soft
for these
wood.
workshops, maple's a very hard wood and it tends to be harder to work with, so poplar's a little bit softer. The maple neck holds its shape a little bit better when you get string tightened on it, after a while the poplar necks will bend. But that doesn't really matter because, you know, you're playing it with a slide anyway, so it's just a visual. But
And changing the shape of the board does not affect the sound.
I used to make these without the board, but I found that people had a hard time playing them because they couldn't get it to, you know, it was
I
always
just need
rolling.
another
So I just
screw.
included the board, but that's just
You
for,
lost your screw.
I did, yes.
What a great assistant I am.
yeah, great,
Look at that already.
yeah,
You're handing out
I
screws.
am.
lovely too.
Aw.
Like Vanna.
This is fun to see music happening.
Yeah.
The vehicle for music taking shape, being born.
I just saw a guy up in Portland, Maine, Jonathan Cooper, who's a world-class fiddle maker, and he's a friend of mine, and he has a beautiful shop there. And one time he invited me into
Yeah,
the shop
use this
to
one
watch
here to
him.
work out pretty
He
good.
was finishing up this fiddle that was a $15,000 fiddle, and the next day he was going to fly it. Him and the fiddle fly down to Nashville to deliver it to one of these top fiddlers in Nashville. But I was watching him at the end, you know, and thinking about the birth of an instrument here. But you know, this $15,000 instrument, and he's putting the finishing touches on it. And he had to drill the peg heads or the peg holes for the pegs in the top. And you know, he just grabbed a drill like this, and he goes like. You know, and I'm thinking like, man, I'd take a little more time on that. You know what I mean? $15,000 fiddle. I'd measure it maybe or something, you know. But he just zip, 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 and carved the bridge and strung it up, and yeah.
And we have an interesting musical background and history to our participants. We have a professional violinist. We have a harpist with a lovely singing voice. We have another person with some guitar and some harp experience. And we have a person with apparently, as he
Vocals.
says, vocal experience but no
Little bit.
instrumental. So this is so much fun. And Linda's also a teacher, so I can see you having fun maybe collaborating with other teachers or working with students, even though it's not violin, it's a stringed instrument.
Anybody need help? You good?
I think it's good, is it?